If every man is good, how to explain so many atrocities caused by the human hand? Does man born good and society transforms him? I know these issues go far beyond good and evil. The Lord Father has a beautiful song called Back to Ask. One of the verses says that I only leave the good that exists in me. I believe that as we do so many evils, we end up forgetting the good in us. I just wanted to understand this inspiration. May God protect you and always enlighten you. A hug. And really, the reflection on man's goodness. She introduces us to paradoxes, dialectics. That is, two sides. We need the dialectical process is what apparently can have a contradiction. Always generates another question. When we believe, and Christian anthropology teaches us this, the human being is good. God did not create a bad human being. Now what exists is the process of damage of this human goodness. And this is funny because we can be affected in this damage so much through the formative process that we receive a wrong formation, as well as we can receive it through genetics. Have you observed this? That there are people who have a greater difficulty in dealing with it, in achieving the kindness of things, because it seems that there is something rooted in it that throws it a lot to this context of evil. I have often tried to understand this, and in fact, charismatic renewal speaks a lot of it when he proposes the cure of generations. It's not that. When you begin to pray for your ancestors, because in some way genetically we bring people's successes and disappointments. And what is the fundamental key for us to understand goodness and evil? This is how much this human being managed to accomplish himself as a person. I have this conviction, my people. A human being makes more pact with kindness as he is realized, performed in the full sense of the word. When you are articulating your limits and possibilities well, and you find a space for happiness in the midst of all this, to the satisfaction of you being who you are. If you have a human being who is pleased to be who he is, you naturally have a movement of kindness. You can observe this. When you find a person who is accomplished in life, who is well found in what God has given you as possibilities and limits, this person has more possibility to do well to the world. It is more prone to kindness. On the contrary, that when you find a person who has not been able to realize when she has a hard time dealing with herself, she will be more prone to doing evil. This is very common in our day. Then we will try to understand violence in the world, try to understand violence in our country. We see so many atrocities. You see violence all the time. It is not a realization of theory. Life does not realize theory. But there, my people, we need to understand that we often have a context of choices that were made by the person, and also by the others that were next to them, and that were influencing, Philosophy was very concerned with thinking about this issue. The man is good, born good, and the half corrupted him, someone already said. No, the human being is born a lot, already corrupted. The human being is naturally evil. You have several anthropological perspectives, reflections on this division in the world of good and evil. And what theology teaches us, Christian anthropology teaches us, is that God has made us good. We have a fragility that we call original sin, and so we need to take care that we don't allow this evil to grow within us. It's as if we have a stone in the shoe that squeezes, and we know you need to find out a way to step so that the stone continues there, and yet we keep walking. We keep walking. We know that all the time we will be challenged. All the time there will be a fire being lit. A fire of goodness, and also a fire of evil. Sometimes we have a lot more evil bonfires being lit than good bonfires. The current of evil grows very quickly. I see how terrible it is to identify the bad things that the internet plays into our home, for example. And you see, it's a whole context thinking that these are people who start thinking about technology to increase what is bad in the world. If you have a toy, an attraction. What should be a distraction to instruct our children? It turns out to be an instrument that will destroy our children. Let's generate prejudice, people. Prejudice, my people, is one of the most terrible things we have in society. And I speak prejudice in general. When someone feels better than the other and has a prejudice upon the other and feels entitled to humiliate, to hurt, to mistreat because of the difference. When we see this grow in the world, this has extremely damaged the social structure, right? And you think these games enter your home. And then I always need to have this conscience, and I never tire of saying that to people, because it is evangelization for me. Evangelizing is that we are aware that the segment of Jesus has to guide us. We have to change our choices. What do you allow you to enter your home? Goodness or evil? All the time, the wickedness and kindness will knock on the door of our house. All the time, someone will offer us something that is good and something that is bad. And it is we who freely step towards all this. Now, when you have a child who still doesn't know how to choose, and she is referred to these bad things, it is guilty, all of us. This is why it is very difficult to make an analysis of society from the concept of guilt. Many years ago, I learned of a story because of the prison pastoral. Father Mario Marcello followed, and for a while, sometimes this boy murdered more than 60 people. There are more than 60 murders, so everyone would have a very fast diagnosis. It really is a bad person, a cold person. And then Father Mario Marcello came to tell me another day a little of that boy's story and said this boy, he was the son of a priest. Just an example. I'm not saying that priests are like this. In that story, this boy was the son of a priest. His mother was an employee of the parish house. The priest pregnant this girl, kicked her from the house, did not take over the child, denied, said that the son was not his, humiliated that girl. This girl went away, but this boy grew up in this state of abandonment and says that he had a lot of desire to meet his father until the day he made contact with his reality. He was the son of a man who did not love him, who didn't want him. If I am not mistaken, I may be mistaken now, because I do not remember very well if that was the sequence of events, but the father was the first to be killed by him. He discovered where he was, ran after, went, and since then became a killer. Of course, guys, we won't justify. No one needs to kill the other to try to resolve the conflicts they have out. But if we are very honest with the issue, who is the first to blame for so many murders? Where is the origin of the evil that grew up in that boy's heart? The dishonesty of that man, who was unable to recognize the mistake he made, who was unable to recognize paternity, who was unable to give the boy the opportunity to know who his father was, denied affection. My people, how many times in life do we see this way? How many times have we found lost teenagers, lost in prostitution, lost in trafficking, lost in laziness? As I found a lady telling me inside the plane this week, she said, "Father, you talk so much about young people who are lost in drugs, socialized prostitution, trafficking. You also need to talk about young people who are lost in laziness. Those who do not want to live, those who do not care for anything, have no addiction, but also have no desire to live. Make no effort to overcome their own difficulties. Yeah? This youth, you take it. This people who are getting so wrong in life. These people who are hitting their heads so much in the shields of life. We'll start to see each other's story and try to understand where that story began to go wrong. In this life, there is no incoherent human being because everyone acts according to the story they receive. Everyone is contextualized. There are many culprits, and the heart is... Why? Because we are not always committed to the person's process. We are not always committed to doing the thing the right way. Guys, and life charges, it's no use. Life is tough. There's that saying, right? God always forgives man sometimes, but life never. If we choose wrong today, sooner or later, this life will charge the choice we made. This is inevitable. And we need to be very careful, because otherwise we compromise this theological truth that man is good. Why? Because we are corrupting our hearts. and we are corrupting the heart of those on our side. We corrupt our home when we choose wrong. We corrupt our children's lives when we are not able to give the example they need for us. When we are not able to be that strong presence in a child's life, be decisive through affection. Put it in your heart. The greatest authority you can have about your children, it has to be effective first of all. You need to have access to your child so that your word has power before him. It's no use you say to him, my son, don't smoke because the cigarette is bad, if he sees you lighting the cigarette all the time. It's no use telling him that fidelity is a value if you are not faithful. The family you took over. No use you say that alcohol destroys, that alcohol hurts, that alcohol kills people. If you keep drinking and you bring it to them as the example, it's life talking stronger than words. So we compromise the structure of goodness that the world can have because of our action, which is not always committed to what God has done in us. Beautiful, you think this. You are good. Your heart is a well of kindness. You were born to work. You were born for kindness. But you won't work. You won't be good if you do through your life, you do freely or not. If you make the choice of what is not good. If you partner with evil. If you bring into your home, into your heart, the structures that are not good. May God bless you a lot. May God give you a lot of wisdom for you to deal with your losses. That all the time people are losing, all the time we go through the experience of losing, it is inevitable. Life is like this. But at the same time, we want to learn from what we lose.